Well, next week, Dustin Hoffman is the Hollywood superstar in Straight Time when he plays Max Dembo, an ex-convict just released from jail who also finds it difficult to keep out of trouble. That's at 9:25 next Monday.
This autumn on BBC1, Johnny Jarvis, an account of the friendship of two boys growing up in London. It begins in their final year at school, with the awkward adjustments they must make as they face the future and make a break with the idealism of their youth.
What happened to your friend Jarvis, Lipton?
He's off school, sir. Yeah, 2 weeks he's been off, sir.
Yes.
He's at home. He just sits there.
Well, it's not a question of what you fancy, is it? I mean, you're going to be out on the streets in a few months, and what you want is some qualifications, because they're not giving jobs away today. Well, hadn't you noticed, eh? Eh? I just don't fancy it.
You've got to make something of yourself, Jarvis. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to work and make something of yourself.
Yeah.
I admire you, Jarvis.
Yeah? Why is that, then?
I don't know.
Not yet adult, but no longer a child, an account of 6 years in the life of Johnny Jarvis this autumn on BBC1.
Newsnight on BBC2 now includes the result in the debate at the House of Commons on the deployment of cruise missiles, and also a report from South Africa on the constitutional referendum to be held on Wednesday. On BBC1, Film 83 with Barry Norman.
I've written this film specially for me, and I know I've got no memory, so every line's about that long. And then we all go for a break, walk around, have a cup of tea, come back and do one more line. Are you rolling?
Of course he's rolling.
Sneaky bugger.
Good evening. Mr. Kenneth Everett, the serious politician who wants to bomb Russia, and he'll hate me for reminding you of that, limbering up for his first film role in Bloodbath at the House of Death. I'll be talking to him and his co-star Pamela Stephenson on location later in the programme. And we'll have some more comedy provided by Richard Pryor, who has the title role in The Toy. Then, too, we have Franco Zeffirelli's screen version of Verdi's opera La Traviata, which is light on laughs but looks gorgeous. But we begin with the Star Chamber, wherein we find Judge Michael Douglas continually obliged to release men who are manifestly guilty of violent crimes because of some legal technicality. A little boy, for example, is abducted and murdered after being forced to take part in a pornographic movie. The perpetrators are caught bang to rights, but a smart lawyer gets them off. Mr. Douglas, who is young and idealistic, is sickened by the fact that because of loopholes in the law, he has to send a succession of subhuman monsters back onto the streets. What is to be done? Well, Mr. Douglas's guide and mentor, Hal Holbrook, an older and more cynical judge, has the answer, or an answer of sorts. He's a member of a latter-day equivalent of the 15th century Star Chamber in England. Now, this was established by Henry VII to, as it were, supplement the King's idea of justice when that justice had not clearly been seen to be done by other courts. What this new Star Chamber does is retry acquitted men, and if it finds them guilty, sends out a hitman to eradicate them.
I don't believe this.
Time to get your fingernails dirty, kiddo. Someone has kidnapped justice and hidden it in the law. Now, who's better qualified than we are to find it? You tell me that.
I don't know. I don't know.
You have arrived at exactly the same place we are. You're a good young man who wants to be a good judge. You don't know what the hell being a good judge is anymore. There are 8 of us, and we have a vacancy. Judge Culhane, he was the 9th. Now, don't tell me you haven't thought about something like this, because if you do, you're a liar.
I don't know what to say.
In or out, kiddo. In or out. Nothing in the middle. There's no more time for that. If it's out, you'll never be able to prove anything you heard, and you can go back to wringing your hands. I'll tell you this. I can sleep at night. I really can. Can you?
Mr Douglas, who, while on the bench, does seem to have been subjected to more than his share of legal jiggery-pokery, eventually joins in. But gradually he realises that he and his fellow conspirators are as much guilty of murder as the men they're having killed. And so, along with Detective Yaphet Kotto, he sets out to bring the Star Chamber to book, or, to put it another way, to justice. Now, much of this, especially in the early stages, raises an interesting moral question, namely, what can or should be done when the technicalities of the law work against the best interests of society? Well, the ideal solution, I suppose, is to change the law, but that's not always easy. Meanwhile, as we're swiftly given to understand, a Star Chamber is no kind of answer at all. Unfortunately, having arrived at this conclusion, the film loses confidence in its own arguments and turns into melodrama, with Mr Douglas trying to save two nasties from being rubbed out by the hitman, while they in turn are ungratefully trying to rub out Mr Douglas. A pity, really, because, at least to start with, the Star Chamber is a sincere attempt to tackle what is, after all, a genuine problem. And the performances, especially that of Sharon Gless as Mr Douglas's wife, are all very acceptable. However, here's Mr Douglas being threatened by the nasties.
If I drop this in here, it's all over. You tell him to put the gun down. Put it down. Somebody is trying to kill you. If you'd listen to me and get out of here, you'd find out the reasons. Because I'm gonna expose all of it. Everything. I'm doing this for me, not for you. I'm scared shitless, all right? So you just calm down. We can talk. You calm down.
You just be cool, okay, Judge?
About it.